That sex addiction thing is back in the spotlight as the American Psychiatric Association moved to include it officially in their official manual of official mental disorders.
Yeah, but while some people think it's nothing more than an excuse for infidelity, scientists say it is a condition that's affecting many lives, and even some celebrities have had to face the truth. There is such a thing as too much sex. Take a look. Sex and more sex. These stars just couldn't get enough. An overachiever on the golf course and in his private life, Tiger Woods ran into trouble in 2010 after 16 of his mistresses stepped into the limelight and hit the tabloids.
I am deeply sorry for my irresponsible and selfish behavior.
The shocking scandal sent the champ on a swing path to sex rehab.
So tell me something.
Oh.
What do I have to do to get you into this car?
David Duchovny nailed the role of a sex-obsessed writer in Californication. But for the actor, it was a case of art imitating life. Straight after his Golden Globe win, Duchovny admitted he had a problem and checked himself into rehab.
Of course, enjoy sexual intercourse, as it is my biological imperative as a human being.
Funny man Russell Brand was busy between the sheets until he met Katy Perry. The comic confessed he made love up to 20 times a week, describing his fame as a Wonka ticket to a sex factory.
In fact, good people of London, before I depart, would you like some genuine Russell Brand sex tips?
So is sex addiction really an illness or just a convenient excuse? We're joined now by a sexologist and relationship expert, Dr. Nikki Goldstein. Good morning to you, Nikki.
Good morning.
I'm going to take this seriously, so don't be laughing at me when I'm trying to talk to you seriously.
When you say something like that.
Doctor, is sex addiction a real disorder?
Well, there is a problem there, but I think we need to be changing the label from sex addiction to something else, because I think sex addiction has been really tainted by Hollywood. So I don't think that we can lump sex addiction into a similar category as, say, a drug or alcohol addiction, because they are very different. And that's part of the problem with labelling what a sex addiction is that word addiction.
So how does anyone go about diagnosing it? Because obviously doctors do, or these celebrities can find some doctors who will.
Well, the problem is when we're looking at trying to find a normal level of sex. So if we're trying to find the abnormal, we're trying to find what normal would be. So there's no such thing as normal when it comes to sex. So we really need something that looks at subcategories, looks at variations, because one person may suffer from a sex addiction very different to another person. And that's part of the problem as well. Sexuality is so unique. So everybody is going to have an issue with sex on a different level.
So you can't draw the line, can you? You can't go, that's a normal amount of activity and that's not.
And this is why just saying sex addiction is a problem, because it's very limiting. You know, how are we going to write down exactly what it is? And some of the terminology too that they've tried to define it, I think is very open to interpretation. So does that mean I can pick up a manual and diagnose, 5 out of the 10 people in this room with a sex addiction just because they might be having an excessive amount of sex, or, searching pornography or doing other sexual activities?
Okay, I can understand the Hollywood sex addiction diagnosis, because let's face it, David Duchovny could walk into any bar and a lot of women would want to sleep with him. But you're dealing with people in suburbia. So is this something you see in regular life, and in suburbia, sex addiction?
Well, I think, ever since the Tiger Woods scandal, we've seen it pop up a lot more. And I think, there's a danger with that. In suburbia. And I think there's a danger to that, because a lot of partners have been saying, well, my partner wants sex 5 times a week and I don't, you're a sex addict. And that can be very damaging on someone's sexuality as well, to call them an addict and say your sexual desires are wrong and shameful and bad. And I think that's the problem in suburbia, is we're trying to define who actually has a problem with this, and is this just a case of a mismatch in sexual desires?
With the internet and stuff now, I suppose pornography is incredibly sort of easy to access. Do you think that's part of the problem or part of the solution, or what is it?
I think it's both. I think that people that do have those constant urges might be able to fulfill those with pornography. But then on the same side, people that may be, having an issue with sex, it might send them on a spiral. So I think when we're looking at, say, pornography or a porn addiction, we need to keep that as separate, but the two may come in hand.
Okay, what's your advice for people who suspect they might have an unhealthy obsession?
Well, I think the first thing is to challenge where that's coming from. If it's coming from your partner or you actually feel like there's a problem, being very careful too about the literature that you read, because you don't want to self-diagnose when there isn't necessarily, something to diagnose there. And then the last thing is always seek a neutral third party. Find a professional who is credible and who is separated from the situation that you can sit down and discuss this with.
You have to be very careful about finding a third party when it comes to sex.
A professional.
Just saying, thank you for clarifying.
That's, we'll be doing that segment tomorrow, finding a suitable third party. Nikki, thank you. That was uplifting and inspiring all at the same time. Appreciate it.
Coming up.
Thank goodness that's it.